Welcome back to the You Should Quit podcast. I'm here with Adrian Falk today. Adrian is my producer, my videographer. He helps with content. He is creative director. He wears a lot of hats. Thanks for coming on, Adrian.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah. How long have we known each other for now?
Not that long, but it feels like forever. Like 6 months, 8 months, 6 to 8 months.
That's wild. I think we spent so much time together during that time that it feels
Yeah, it feels way longer.
like years.
Yeah, like I don't hang out with that many people at all. So like you're one of the more consistent people in my life these days for sure. So I think that's definitely part of the reason why it feels so much longer.
Yeah, I think besides Janelle, my fiance, I don't spend as much time with anyone else other than you. Like,
Yeah,
that's it.
pretty much. Yeah,
And that's probably because we sleep in the same bed for 8 hours a day. But
Oh, Janelle.
yeah, that's not you and I.
I thought you were making a joke.
I mean, if we were out on not a vacation, but a work trip somewhere, and the only place we had to stay only had one bed, like I sleep on my back, I don't move. I'm gonna be okay. You just gotta listen to my CPAP go off.
Yeah.
But yeah, it has felt like forever. But the first time we met was it late August?
Yeah, technically technically early August at Hot Night. We really briefly met at Hot Night.
Yeah, you
But
were.
I was filming Joan Angus's cars.
Okay,
Yeah.
I remember. Yeah, it was like I was walking around with my boys, and it was like 5 minutes. Like, hey, how's it going?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
name's Adrian.
There you go. I'm Caleb. So, but I was looking for starting a project, and I had stumbled across, what was it, like Manning Park or Squamish? Where were you in that video?
Squamish is the chief.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
little video I did there. Yeah.
And I saw that. And it was super cinematic. Like these guys know what they're doing, and I knew your friend Justin.
Yeah.
And I reached out to Justin, and I was like, "Hey, man, I got this like idea. Do you guys want to like sit down and talk about it?"
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we went to Amplified Coffee.
It was the Vic, the first one.
Oh, it was the Vic.
It
You're
was
right.
The second meeting the first meeting was at the Vic.
Yeah.
Kind of laid the groundwork there, and then the second meeting was Amplified, and that was when Justin and I kind of had like almost more of a pitch for you at that point. Yeah.
Yeah. The first one was just kind of me spitballing all my crazy ideas and my 10-year plan. And, and you're like, let's dial it back a bit. Let's work on the first thing first. And we met up like 2 weeks later at Amplified, and you guys had kind of laid out what you thought it would look like, but you hadn't kind of taken on a project like this before, had you?
Nothing at all like it. Like most of my stuff would be like maybe like up until now, at least at the point we're talking about, maybe like 5 reels or whatever. Nothing like 30 reels or anything like that. So yeah, nothing like this. I didn't know what I was walking into. And I even said in that first meeting, like, hey man, like I can make some content for you, but I don't know how to blow you up or anything, at least at this point, kind of thing.
Yeah, I remember you saying, I don't know what you're expecting from this, but you're like, I don't know how to get you followers. I don't know how to get you go viral. I know how to make content. I know how to film it. I know how to edit it. I know how to color grade it. And let's start there. And I love what you guys came to me with. You're like, hey, let's do 30 reels and 30 pictures in 30 days. This is kind of what it looks like. And because my original plan was I had this crazy idea to do MDS the Legendary, and I wanted to doing a huge event, this crazy race over 6 days in the Sahara Desert, but I wanted to do it to raise money for cancer. And you guys came to me with the 30 and 30 and 30, and we sort of decided on the 30 reels, and I think we did 10. No, we got away from the pictures. We
did take 30 photos.
Yeah.
But they were primarily used for stories.
Yeah.
Is what it was.
Stories, for sure.
And the website.
Yeah, on the website there. Yeah, we had lots of photos done.
Yeah.
But the reels were the 30, and it was like bang, 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 and the growth started happening. But that was the original plan. It was work together 1 month, take my money, and then we had talked about, you're like, what do you want it to look like afterwards? And I said, I mean, if things are going well and there's, we have some momentum, more momentum is going to mean more money raised for the Canadian Cancer Society. I'd like to keep going with it. And And obviously we had to mesh, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you would have delivered on the 30, but if we didn't like each other or you were button heads and it's just not working for either of us, we would have, went our separate ways. But I mean, here we are like 8 months later and things are going pretty well.
Yeah.
We spent a lot of time together. I think it was a good fit from the start.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. So we smashed those 30, came out with what we thought was really good at the time. And
Yeah.
I think it was for the first kind of especially my first foray into content creation, I guess you would call it.
Yeah, it's your first time really being like on camera. I don't know what you really expected it to be like creating content.
I don't, it's hard to think back. I knew it would be difficult. I didn't think it would be as hard as it was to be on camera, though.
Yeah, you were a bit awkward when you first started, for sure.
Well, in school I did tons of theater. I was in lots of plays and monologues, and I would get anxiety before going on stage, and I would often have to go take a dump or throw up, right? Like literally minutes before I would go on stage. This one play we did, I was the second male lead. It was a musical. I had a solo song and dance number, and my solo was the part of the second act. So I know you don't know much about theater, but you do the first act, and then the curtains come off, the actors have a break, the audience can get up and mingle, and then the second act opens, and it usually opens, especially in a musical, with a big musical number. So what I would do, and I'm 17 at the time, is I would go, and there was this kind of back room where this grand piano was backstage, and I would go and sit underneath it in pitch darkness, and I would sit there and eat like 30 Tums because I was so nervous about going out there. But as soon as I stepped onto the stage, it was all gone. So I kind of thought it would be like that. I kind of thought as soon as it was rolling, this persona or this character would come out, but it didn't. It was
Brutal.
Well, I think the weirdest thing for me was, especially viewing it after, it's, you know how when you record yourself and then for the first time and you hear yourself and you sound nothing like that? It's like that, but you're also seeing yourself. And it's just, I hate to use the word cringe, but it felt kind of cringy making content at first to me.
Yeah, definitely. That's how I feel on camera every single time. Like, I have recorded hundreds of videos. Like, as a kid, I wanted to be a YouTuber. So I have published almost 200 videos on one sole channel, just like vlogs and stuff like that. And then I kind of stopped doing that for a while, and then trying to get back into it. Ever since then, been really awkward on camera. And since then, I've probably filmed like 50 plus videos that I've never released. Like, I film videos all the time.
Just archived. Just
Sitting
there.
Sometimes I'll film videos, and then I won't even get to the editing phase. I'm like, okay, this is what I learned from just like figuring out that video and filming it. And then I don't even get to the editing phase. Like this past week, I've filmed at least one video for my personal channel, but I deleted the footage.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of the things that I've learned along the way with filming and with being on camera and talking is it's really hard to talk in my natural voice. Like right now, we're having a conversation, and I know when we play it back later and I listen to it, it's going to sound like me. But I really noticed this actually. You were showing me a video that you were making, and I didn't even know it was you talking. Like it didn't have your natural like cadence. It did. Your voice almost sounded like pitched up a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I was like, is this like AI voiceover? Like, no, that's me. I was like, what? That's not you. Like,
Well, that was like, because I was trying to put on like, I was trying to make it really exciting for like the first, like hooking people into the story of like, so that's my Bali video.
Oh,
and so I was talking about like how the plan got completely switched around and stuff. So I was trying to like hook people on the idea of the video basically, right? So I was talking really fast and I don't know. I don't really talk like that.
Yeah. I think what it was is your voice is a bit bassy, and on that it wasn't bassy.
Yeah, I don't know. Every time I film, like when I hear my voice talk right now, I feel like I do like have a bit of a bassier voice.
Yeah.
But then every time I film, I'm like, I listen to it back and I'm like, why is that how I sound? Like I feel like I sound like really pitched up like this almost. Like,
yeah,
it's like so
that's what I
weird.
thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what we should try for you is the same thing we did for me is just have me in the room and talk to me.
Yeah.
Because it's going to come across way more natural.
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
You know, so going back, did that 30.
Yeah.
And I'm like, let's keep it going. Like
Yeah.
let's see where this goes. And
that's when like the production level got
Yeah.
a lot higher. So we had started the first 30, we shot all those talking pieces. We made a little shooting corner at your house. That was
Yeah.
almost like Studio V1.
yeah,
Was going to be that little office nook at your house.
yeah. Bought the little light stand for
Bought
it.
the little light stand, got a little background going.
Yeah.
And then after that first 30, we decided to shoot some stuff at my office, invested in some more lighting, set some stuff up a little bit better. And that's when we got a huge like jump in our content level. Everything looked better. We adjusted how we were shooting things, how I was prompting you. Everything felt a lot more natural after that for sure.
Yeah, I can specifically remember the day when I brought it up, and I was like, what if I'm like, it's more like an interview and I'm just talking off to the side, and you're like, yeah, what I'll do is I won't be mic'd up, as in you won't be mic'd up.
Yeah.
And you and I are having a conversation. So you gave me those prompts, and then I just sort of riffed off of that. And then that was when it clicked for me.
Yeah.
Like it all changed after that. That's when it's like going from, I wasn't nervous, but I just, like you were saying, you feel pitched up. Like my whole body was like, everything inside me was like pitched up.
Yeah, you're like holding yourself
Yeah.
up too and all awkward.
And you're like, why are you so stiff? And I was like, I'm just trying to have posture. And you're like, no, man, like just be. Just be.
Yeah. Yeah, that was like something that I learned working with other people, but also like specifically with you because of the volume that we are putting out too.
Yeah, we were trying to pump it out, and we were super consistent with it for a while. And I think from that, as we were putting out more stuff about the fundraising, we knew that with me being on a camera, there's this like, kind of like personal brand kind of building, and the more people are going to buy into the personal brand, the more it's going to help drive to the fundraiser.
Yeah. So December is kind of when that personal brand kind of really started. The first 30 was super fundraiser driven. And then the following month, December, that's when we really started to hone in on just more so you as a person. We weren't really we still put out stuff that was fundraising based, but that's when we started to think of ideas that were just personal brand related. So
Yeah, it was great starting to work on the personal brand, and as we were putting more time into the personal brand, but we're also doing things for the fundraiser and trying to have like some cinematic stuff, I started to realize how much time it takes, and every shoot that we wanted, we'd have time budgeted for it, but everything, especially as I was getting more used to being on camera and working with you and trying to learn kind of the ropes, everything takes and took way longer than I had anticipated.
yeah, like some of the initial talking head videos, we'd be spending like 30, 40, 50 minutes on one piece of content.
Yeah, that's going to be 15 seconds.
Yeah, that's going to be like 15 seconds. We were taking so long on that content. So we had to really hone that in, especially in like the pre-planning phase. That's something we've gotten a lot better at, I think, is like our pre-production phase.
There was no pre-planning. It was shoot from the hip before.
Pretty much, yeah. Like we went through a phase where we were trying out like scripting and just reading off the script. That really did not work. Then we tried teleprompters. That obviously got like our message across, but it felt super unnatural. So like what you were saying about earlier, when we got to that phase where we were just kind of having a conversation between the two of us, that's where, like you said, it really started to click.
I think, yeah, that was huge. That conversation, and then starting to feel natural, and then being able to just have a prompt and then riff.
Yeah.
And even if I talked, some of them, the video is, 20 seconds, but I riffed for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then just something out of there was that nugget for that video. Whereas before we were trying so hard to, have the message and say the exact words, and I would get 3/4 of it and it would feel kind of natural, but then I'd fuck it up and then we do it again and we do it again and we do it again. And then, yeah, it was just almost a waste of time, I think. Maybe not a waste of time, because we learned like that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Maybe it works for other people, but that did not work. I'm not a newscaster.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So I think like as we kind of figured that out, then now we're starting to hone in like our creative ideas and really coming up with that pre-production phase, and just really trying to figure out like how do we get into that creative mindset together, and like just bounce ideas really quickly off each other, get them written down in a way that when we go back a week or 2 weeks later and we look at our random little pre-production notes, we actually know what we were thinking of in that moment.
Yeah, I think a big part that's helped us is we started using Milanote.
Yeah.
And we're able to we could fully storyboard a full series in there, but we have, okay, this is going to be for this type of content. This is going to be for this type of content. And then we go into that folder, and then we have ideas laid out there and what might work. And there might be 50 things in there that we brainstormed, but then the night before we're going to shoot that, we review it and we're like, oh, fuck, half of these suck. But because we already know those suck, we don't attempt them on camera, because at the end of the day, time is money. And if we spend, like you said at the start, we were spending an hour for one clip.
Yeah.
And then what did we bang out the other day here in like an hour? 12?
Yeah,
8? It was 8.
8, I think.
Yeah.
Way more.
Oh, way more.
Way more. And tomorrow we're doing 15.
Yeah.
In 2 hours.
Yeah, we're going to bang, 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 bang.
And we've budgeted 2 hours, and I don't think we'll need the full 2 hours.
Yeah. Maybe some of that time is like driving to the location we want to use.
Yeah.
And so maybe it is with travel time, but as far as shooting time, for sure, we're gonna smash those out.
Yeah.
No.
And I think like more recently too, what's really helped us is like this space too. Like building out the space has just like completely unlocked a new level for us.
Oh man, sitting in here versus like sitting on my couch at home when we're like texting back and forth, there wasn't any flow to it. And then when I'm here and you're here and we're working together and our phones are off and we're really in that mindset. Whereas if I'm at home and the dog wants to go out, it's the same kind of thing as if you're working from home, you're going to have those distractions. If I'm sitting at home having a conversation with you, even for like FaceTiming or whatever, it just doesn't work for us.
Yeah. And I think that's like something that like a lot of people, especially in the early stages, completely miss, is how important having an actual dedicated space for content creation or just like coming up with ideas is.
Yeah. I think too, with having that dedicated space and like we built this studio, the walls and the lights and everything that's in it, that gets my creative juices going, man.
Yeah.
Like,
it's inspiring for sure.
Yeah. Especially because we know we create here. So as soon as I walk in the door, it's like everything else is turned off and I'm here and it's like, let's go. Let's kick it into overdrive. And it's just flows off the tongue, man. Just rapid fire.
Yeah.
And then with that too, I know that when we're here and I have that creative mindset going, I think it's actually helped me when I'm not here as well. Like I'll leave here tonight and I'll have more ideas because the mind's kind of in that like creative zone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And now that I think we're expanding, what we've really started to realize too is like how important a team is going to be.
Oh man.
Like a team is going to be crucial for all the stuff we're coming up with.
So, but I mean, we tried to work on a team almost the entire time because I mean, you've, without any luck, have tried to. How many editors have you tried to work with now?
Yeah, so I've paid about between 7 and 10. I've paid to do projects. Some of them have been like okay. Some of them have been complete flops. Like we tried hiring that one agency. I paid for a bunch of videos up front, and they didn't even deliver anything.
I think it's important to tell the audience how much you paid Adrian up front.
Well, it wasn't even like, in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't like that much money, but it was $1,000. I basically just lit on fire.
But how much were you supposed to get out of that?
I don't remember how many deliverables I was supposed to get out of it. It was a lot, though.
And it was supposed to be fast, too.
And it's supposed to be really fast. So I find these guys on Instagram from an ad. I see a bunch of their ads. It's not like I clicked on the first ad I saw. I saw a bunch of ads, and I saw a bunch of really good testimonial content. So I'm like, okay, let's try these guys. Sent them a DM. Was going back and forth on DM for probably like 2 weeks with these guys before I actually booked a call. Get on the call with them. They have the right answer to every question I have. Like, they've done this a lot, clearly. And everything sounds good, and I'm like, fuck it, let's do it. So I give them $1,000. They get this huge group chat going. They seem like they have a team. I'm like, this is going to unlock so many possibilities for us.
I remember you telling me about it, and I was really excited because you showed me some of their stuff, and I was like, this is really good.
Yeah. Like, I don't know if that was their stuff or somebody else's stuff, what the deal was with that whole scenario, but they had the portfolio to, like, really sell me on it. And then, long story short, I'm communicating with them. I send them all the footage and everything, give them all the instructions and everything they should need to start. And they're like, okay, perfect, we'll get going. Week goes by, haven't received anything or really heard from them. 2 weeks go by, I'm still trying to get a hold of them. They're like, yeah, 50 more hours and we'll send you the first videos. 50 hours goes by, 24 more hours and we'll send you the stuff. 24 hours goes by and they're like, hey, we're stopping for this holiday. We'll be out of commission for 10 days or whatever.
Oh, man.
Keeps going. And then, it's a no-go. Nothing's happening there.
No, got hosed for sure.
Got hosed for sure.
Yeah. And you weren't the only one that got hosed. I also tried to work with Outside Media Group.
Yeah.
Same thing. Saw the ads on like... No, I didn't see ads. They reached out to me, and they're like, hey, this is what we do. We've worked with this many people, these many accounts now, this many followers, this many views because of the work that we've done. I was like, okay, cool. That sounds good. See their portfolio. It's really good. There's lots of testimonials. End up after like 2 weeks or so, book a call with them. Had the initial one. We start chatting back and forth, and they had this whole plan and laid out. And what I was trying to look for, like I wasn't trying to look for an editor because I felt like, and I didn't want you to feel at the time that I was like trying to outsource your editing because I love your stuff, still do. And we haven't found anyone else that can even get close to it. But I wanted more of a media kind of team to help us with like ideas about like the direction, because we were still so green in the whole content kind of personal brand side of things. Yeah,
the pre-production phase.
Yeah.
What direction should we be going? What pieces of content should we be putting out here? Where should our focus be?
Yeah. Why did this reel perform well when this one didn't? When we thought the one that didn't perform well should have performed better, and ask them, hey, can you review our stuff? Like, how can we do better with this and with this? So foolishly, I signed up with these guys. They were $1,400, and it was supposed to be weekly calls and certain deliverables, and we got one thing out of it, and it was a paid article on, I forget which.
New York Weekly or something?
New York Weekly or something like that.
Didn't we get a couple articles?
No, just one.
Oh, we got one?
We had other articles done independently by other people that wanted to do an article on me and what I was doing. But for them, and they're like, hey, send me like a list of a questionnaire. Can you answer these questions? So I answer all these questions, and I write fairly well. And then when the article comes out, it's probably 80% what I said, like almost verbatim. Yeah. And the rest of it clearly is just ChatGPT. And I'm like, well, fuck. Like, okay, money's already invested. I approved the article. They posted up. I don't know if it got us any traction really. But then they're like, hey, we can help you with your editing. We can do all your editing. So I say, okay. So we send them, because what I wanted to do more was some carousels.
Yeah.
So we send them some raws for carousels. We send them some raw footage. And then the carousels were all just trash, generic. They didn't edit the picture at all.
Yeah.
It was still the raw format, and it was some generic financial kind of style, like feel, very cold kind of quote at the bottom, like, go harder, you will do better. It's like, what?
Yeah, it's horrible. You had a completely different issue than I had, like where I had no deliverable at all. You just had the wrong person, like the wrong fit, basically. Because if we were if we were more of a financial focus, they might have worked out better. But it's all like that's the hardest part about finding the team that we want is the right person for the job, right?
Yeah, who's gonna work on our timelines, but also has the skills that are up to what we're trying to do. And they didn't have the editing skills at all because we sent them some of our raw footage as well.
Yeah.
And they came up with the fonts weren't. We sent them our brand package. These are our fonts. These are the colors we use. Didn't use any of it.
Yeah.
Told them to make the changes, and they changed some of the wording, but it was all still the same.
Yeah.
And then I just stopped communicating with them. I paid for the month and then just parted ways. They were not right for our team at all.
Yeah. No, finding a team is and has been one of the most difficult things.
Huge hurdle, man.
Yeah, huge hurdle.
And especially if we want to eventually do long form content and we're doing how many reels every single day and we're doing the podcast and stuff, there's no way that, I mean, unless you worked on it 10 hours every single day. Like,
yeah, if you had the budget to pay me a full-time job.
If we're pulling in, 10, 20 grand a month, then, but we're not pulling in any money right now. We're just trying to put out quality stuff that people will take value from.
Yeah. But yeah, with the team, like you said, if we want to get into the long form, it's definitely going to be crucial to expand that team because now we really realized how important consistency is. We really saw that in the first month with posting. I think it was like about a month and a half that we posted every single day a reel. And then we kind of got into that phase where we're too focused on polished content and not putting out enough volume. So now we're moving into the phase of really realizing that we need to be more consistent, need to post every day, if not multiple times a day. And then we're also adding the podcast to things. So.
Yeah, consistency and volume is going to beat out intensity and perfection every single day.
Yeah.
Because we come out with one perfect reel every single week versus we do 14 that are good to great, but they didn't take 4.5 hours to film. Or maybe they did take 4.5 hours to film, but we got 14 out of it versus one video that took 4.5 hours to film and that many hours to edit. And then, people want to see things every single day.
Yeah, absolutely. Top of mind is super important.
So, I mean, I don't know how we're going to find this team. Like, I know, what I think is going to work for us is just from showing some of our friends that are also kind of in the same industry. I've had some friends that like a videographer, and they're like, man, that space is awesome that you built. I just showed him like 2 pictures. And he's like, you going to rent it out? And I was like, I mean, we kind of like spitballed the idea. He's like, I got clients like that would love to use this space. So maybe they have some content. So they have an editor that they work with that we don't even know about.
Yeah.
Maybe they got a guy in van. Rates are reasonable, does great work, delivers on time, and then there's a hookup from that. I bet you that happens, something like that.
Yeah, or even just like another creative hears about the space. They come by, take a look, we connect with them well, and they already have the skill set of doing videos and stuff, and maybe they can be the long form editor or even the short form editor or the podcast editor. I don't know, whatever.
We both find someone, and I think how we kind of met organically, I think that's generally probably how it's going to work for us, for the other ones as well.
Yeah.
Because we're going to meet up with someone and we're going to riff, they're going to roast us, we're going to roast them back. We're like, yeah, this person's pretty cool to work with and like hang out with, especially if it's someone that we're going to see in person. They definitely have to kind of jive with us and our personalities.
Yeah, definitely. And it'd be nice to have, like, ideally it would be somebody, like you said, like in town, can come to the studio, maybe be part of the actual production, like some of the shooting and stuff too. Maybe even, I don't know. once we find that person, then we can, then from there we'll figure out delegated roles and stuff. But
Yeah, I think trying, we wanted it to happen too bad. Like, you know how they say, like, you want this too much, you're going to fuck it up?
yeah,
And that was, we were pushing too hard to find that perfect person, but they will, kind of how we met up, just almost like happenstance, that it'll happen for us eventually.
yeah,
And I think by trying to push out too fast, too hard for that team, we fell away from kind of the things that were working for us because our energy wasn't focused.
yeah, definitely.
So yeah, hopefully with the new space and some other creators coming in, we'll make some good connections, maybe make some new friendships, and find someone that will be able to work well with us.
Mm-hmm. I think like another thing going into, I guess like what you'd said a little bit ago with how long, like you didn't think of how long things were taking, is like when we went on that Bali trip. And
Clinking?
Clinking.
Is that what you're going to bring up?
I wasn't going to bring up clinking, but that's like a good example. Like sometimes you do go and like go to a location to shoot and the weather is great, but the location is not it. There's weather fuck ups. There's like clinking. The waves were just
the
insane.
tide? Oh,
Tide was
man.
insane. So there's always like unpredictable things like that. We've had SD cards lost, media lost.
I don't want to talk about that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could think, like I thought from looking at the pictures and stuff, that clinking was going to be awesome. And that's almost like a harsh reality of that, like Instagram versus reality. Like the shots from clinking, walking down that crazy steep trail all the way to the bottom. And then I thought it was going to be amazing. But I think it also shows that we were a bit naive. We're like, hey, the top of it's awesome. And there's a beach at the bottom. We need a beach for running on. This is going to be great. Didn't do any pre-production past that. And we got to the bottom and that whole fucking day, did we even get a picture?
I think at the very end of the day, not at clinking, at our Airbnb, we got like a few pieces of content.
But as far as clinking,
Yeah.
and the biggest reason that was a bust was it took 3 hours to get to clinking. And then we were like 3 hours there. And then we're like, oh, okay, that was a bust. Let's try and salvage this. And we're like, hey, this other beach is supposed to be really good. And then we show up and it's packed to the tits with tourists and umbrellas and little janky stands trying to sell seashells and stuff. And the waves weren't nice and the beach wasn't nice. And it just, and then we
were exhausted.
Oh, yeah, walking up that hill from Kalinking, straight up and down.
Yeah.
So I think we jumped in the water to wash the sweat off and then back in the vehicle to the boat all the way back. And by the time we got back, we were burnt, man. Like not, I mean, we're a bit sunburnt too, but like just burnt out from kind of felt like defeated on that day.
Definitely. And it was like financially probably the most expensive day.
Yeah.
In terms of like travel and everything. Because I think it was $130, $150 for transport over there.
I think it was like 900,000. We got them down to the price for the IDR. Is that what it was? Or 1.1?
I don't remember what it was. It was the most expensive transport, though. I remember that.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I think the next day was the day we chilled and just like filmed mostly at the villa, wasn't it?
Yeah, quite possibly.
Because I think we were supposed to get up for a sunrise, and then I woke up and it was late. And I was like, "Are we doing this, guys?" And we got kind of all scrambled, and we were just like blurry eyed, like.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, you're gonna have those locations that are busts, and I wish clinking would have worked out, man. The idea was there, and I think if we had taken a bit more time, which we're doing now with pre-production, I'm like, what are the tide charts? Oh, the exact time we're gonna be there was when the tide's gonna come in, and we weren't careful, and we almost, what would that have been, like 20 grand camera equipment we almost lost?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Because we were way up the beach. Like we were so far from the waves. We had our towel down, and there was the drone and 3 cameras and the lenses. And I was scouting out down the beach to see if there was like a good spot for some running stuff. And then there was another guy flying his drone. So you would want to talk to the guy flying his drone to talk to him, like, hey, can you land it for a bit so we don't crash into each other? And then I turn back and look, and this big like a Jaws wave, like out in Hawaii that they surf and comes in, and then I see it going up the beach, and I see Justin. He's like 10 feet from the cameras, just starts sprinting, and he gets to it right when the wave hits all the gear, and I'm like, oh man, because being new to filming and stuff, didn't know how bad water was for cameras, and I had knocked mine into the pool like 2 days before, and luckily only the lens went in, and I was able to salvage it. But I thought everything was ruined, dude.
Yeah, we were at Clinking. We were probably about 10 seconds away from losing $20,000 worth of camera gear.
Yeah, if Justin had been 5 feet further,
we would have been screwed.
It would have, and that would have. I mean, we got some good footage before, but we had 5 days left.
If we had lost all that gear, I would have been like seriously concerned about going bankrupt.
Yeah, dude, that
like,
was
because like that backpack is how I make all of my income, and I do not have any savings, let alone $20,000 to just drop on all new camera gear.
Oh man!
And we had 2 bodies, 3 lenses, the new drone,
brand new drone
that we had shot like a handful of clips on. Did not get to anywhere close to paying that thing off in terms of content.
Still not.
Still not. No. So
well, we lucked out though, because didn't you have your shirt in your bag or something?
I had a rain jacket in my bag or something like that, and some other stuff on the underside. And the way that the bag was placed, that propped it up a little bit. So the water that did come and hit the bag, it soaked the bottom part that was like extended up because I had extra stuff in it underneath the camera gear. And then Justin's bag, I think he had like not a hoodie, but maybe some T-shirts or something, and that soaked up all the water. That was underneath the camera in his bag.
Yeah.
So
I think the only thing that got fucked up was sand got in the one ND filter, right?
Yeah.
Because as the wave came up, it carried up all this sand with it, and then I remember all our stuff, I mean, except for the cameras, was just like covered in sand.
My camera bag still has sand in it, I'm pretty sure.
Oh man.
Like, it's brutal. The worst thing for sand to be in. Like,
and then we tried to salvage it. Okay, we're going to move further up the beach. So we moved even further, this little rock alcove. And then another huge one came like half an hour later. And then luckily we were far enough up, but they were coming in so big that if we were out filming and you were, down with the gimbal low and a bigger wave came in, that's going to knock you off your feet.
yeah.
Like I was out there filming myself, and I was like, ha, 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 ha. Either my phone, thankfully, it was my phone. Thankfully, iPhones are waterproof, but I was just filming, and I got tossed, man. Yeah. And lucky my phone didn't land on lose the grip of my phone, and it flew away. Imagine if you were out there with the gimbal with the FX3.
Yeah.
Ruined.
Yeah, those waves were no joke.
Yeah. So we are much... was a really hard lesson for us to learn. Not just losing the day, but it would have been harder had we lost all the gear. But we definitely know, like, hey, where we're going to put our stuff down. Check the tide charts when we're doing another, tropical or sunny place. But more than that, it's anything we're doing now. We got to do that pre-production. We got to put that time in first.
Yeah, definitely. In terms of gear, I'm interested to know, going into this project together, or just like this, I guess, journey, it's not even just one project, but did you have any like thought beforehand about like how much gear all this would take, or like how much gear you would be personally investing into?
I think, it's a great question. I think when we first started and we did like the 30, I wasn't going to purchase any gear. But then the more we worked together and I saw like the camera in use and I started taking more of an interest in it, and I was like, hey, I want to get a camera too, and I can film some stuff myself at home. But my biggest driver with that was that I wanted to learn more about how the camera worked and why you were doing certain shots, or why I was in a certain spot, or why I was turned a certain way. Because I thought that the more I knew about it, the better actor I could be, and that would save time, make things more efficient. Because if you're like, like say we go to a spot and they're like, no, we can't do this. Or like say what worked would be good examples when we were at UFun.
Yeah.
And the sun was beaten down and it was like way too bright to kind of film anything. And I ran ahead and I'm like, hey, I think there's a great spot up here because it was a big open clearing. It was like super beautiful. And then you hiked up like 15 minutes. You're like, no, that sun's too harsh.
Yeah.
But then I learned from that. I'm like, okay, this is not good shooting conditions right now. So that's kind of like where I started kind of thinking about investing in the gear. And then now I've been shooting some pictures and I got some great ones of my son playing rugby last weekend and I edited them a bit too. So now I know the process kind of behind it. And I know how long it took me to edit my first photo. It's probably like 40 minutes. And I know you can do it like way faster, but I know that when certain project or certain reels being done, I know a little bit of the back end. So I think I think we talked about it before, like what my expectations were coming into this. My expectations are still quite high because I know the caliber of work you put out and the skill that you have, but I know the work that has to get done. So I can't ever expect like, hey, why isn't that done yet? And it's like, man, we filmed 50 things that day. Like, need to find what works for this sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And then with the gear, I think what I've learned a lot is like what it costs. I remember the first day I'm like, you had all these pieces of equipment and I was like, how much is this? And you're like, man, this isn't even half and this is like 15 grand. And I was like, what I had no idea how much cameras, how expensive they are, but they're crazy what you can do with them, right? If you know how.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
and we have, compared to the first day, we have way more gear now.
Oh man,
like
the lights and that light's new and those lights are new and one of the cameras is new.
We got a new lens.
That's the 7180, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, a new lens. Two new drones.
Two new drones.
The FPV now too.
Yeah.
That we haven't even taken for a flight yet.
No. All the podcast gear.
Yeah. The room itself.
Yeah.
It's definitely an investment that pays dividends over time, though.
Yeah.
So the content's better. I love being on camera. It's super natural for me now.
Yeah.
It's been a roller coaster for sure, especially those first couple months. I would say, you know what, is almost even a roller coaster up until we got back from Bali. Like Bali was kind of a shit show.
Yeah, it was a big shit show.
Nothing was planned properly.
Yeah, well, with it being a last minute trip, like we did, like I think, like maybe 3 weeks before we flew, that's maybe when we decided to go. It might have even been closer to. It was a very last minute plan. We were going to go to Morocco for MDS.
And then obviously that had to be deferred because of the medications that I'm on. I don't think I booked the flight. Like finally found like the flights that we were going to take, and then we collectively decided to book those ones until like less than 2 weeks before.
Yeah, and we didn't have our Airbnbs till 3 days or something before we left. Like it was a rushed trip.
Yeah.
Until we had our Airbnbs booked and we knew where we were staying, we didn't even know all the locations that we were actually going to go to. Yeah. Even once we landed in Bali, we didn't know all of the locations that we were for sure going to go to.
Or the days or what we wanted to do with them.
Yeah.
So, but since we've been back and now we're in the space and the creative juices are flowing, the pre-planning has been top notch. Like it's night and day difference for how we used to run things.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now it feels like a full production process. Like it feels professional. And before we weren't even amateur, man. We were like kindergarten level.
Yeah.
We just show up and we're like, what are we doing today? Like, let's do this. And like, let's do this motivational thing. And we just like jump from one thing to another. Whereas tomorrow we know the content we're going to shoot. We still need to figure out where it's going to be, but that's easy because I just need to be running somewhere. So somewhere where there's not a lot of traffic or maybe like a dirt road or something. Yeah. But we know what we're going to shoot. We have like 50 different ideas for what those prompts are going to be for what I'm going to say. We're going to look over those. What do we feel it's going to hit? What's going to stick? What's not? And then we're going to pump that out in like maybe 2.5 hours with driving. And then, it's the pre-production is so key. That's the biggest thing I think we learned from Bali.
Yeah, definitely.
So I know for a next trip that we do, I think it'll go off. Like I mean, you can't. Sometimes we'll think a location is going to be great. We do all the scouting, we do the research, we know the title charts, that sort of thing. It's going to piss down rain. You can't help that. But we're going to know day 1, these things. Day 2, these things. Day 3, these things. And I think what we learned as well is when you're going that hard, we had days that were like 14, 15 hours.
Yeah.
We're going to program in that rest day.
Yeah.
Right?
Or like a rest period of some sort for sure.
Yeah. Even if it's just, instead of trying to get to this one sunrise, we're all going to sleep in. We're going to go out for a nice relaxed breakfast. We're going to go down to hit the ocean for a bit. We're going to have a nap, and then we're going to go out.
Yeah.
Because we were exhausted, man, by the end.
Yeah, we were cooked. And
I think that shows, like, we got so much content the first, 5 days up to Kalinking, and then obviously that was a bust. And then we got, really good stuff. And then the last location, which we had booked, that had that sick staircase, and we were going to do all this great stuff at the villa. And we did a little bit by, the pool.
But we were tired.
Oh, dude, we were exhausted.
Yeah, we were so tired.
But the shitty thing with that, though, is when you're flying, when it takes that long to get there, that's your sunk cost already, the time and the money to get there. You want to stay longer to be able to really take advantage of it. So I think if we would have taken maybe the day after, or maybe the last day we were on Noosa, if we had just chilled and then we had gone to the next spot, I think we would have gotten way more out of those last 3 or 4 days or whatever it was.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
So now that we've moved into this new office here, and we kind of are getting in tune with our pre-production process, really getting into that creative mindset. What are you kind of expecting or wanting to move towards for the next maybe 6 months or so?
Consistency.
Yeah.
Consistency for sure. I want to get back on that regular posting schedule. I think the biggest thing is, and I know it's going to happen, I can just feel it from being in here, is I want that our production level to go up, and not in the form of I just wanted so bad for the big sweeping shots and running along the ocean or running on a cliffside and all it is just cinematic. I wanted that to stick and land so bad, and it's not. So we're going to repurpose that, and we have another idea for that with the motivational stuff. So I know that our production for what we're focusing on is going to make everything go up. So I think what I'm actually trying to say is I know that being here and where I see us for the next 6 months is that dialed in focus that we're going to get. We know what we want to do for the content. We have the framework to make that content, to post that content. We've learned about metrics and why this one does well and what we want to get out of that piece of content. And when something works well, we're going to run with that. And maybe the thing we're going to film tomorrow, none of it hits and it all sucks. We're not going to keep beating a dead horse and keep going with that. So I think that focus, man, I'm so fired up being in here. I was passionate about it before, but now I'm it's a next level, man.
Yeah. I think for me, I think the main focuses I'm really hoping to, focus on for the next 6 months is really dialing in our systems and figuring out expanding the team. So getting more people involved, making sure that we have fine-tuning our systems for the pre-production, production, post-production phase, and really dialing in our schedule for shooting, releasing, and then expanding how much we're really putting out there.
Yeah. I think we'll be able to dial that in super well because we had our first felt like our first real brainstorming session a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
And if we can be consistent with doing those, so we came up with probably what's going to be if they all work out 60, we'll probably film 100 things and we'll have 60 that'll be publishable. But we're going to film some of that tomorrow, and then we're going to film some of it next week. But next week as well, we're going to do another brainstorming session. So we're going to have, everything's going to be at a little bit different part of the process, right? So we have a brainstorm, and then we have the ideas. And then some of those ideas are going to be here, and and they're in the filming. And then those ones that are filming are going to be in the editing. But in that same week that we're doing the filming, we're doing the next creative one. And then we're in the next posting and the next, right? So we're always going to have something in the pipeline. And you always hear about it in any of the content creation kind of marketing strategies. You need that funnel. But like we're funneling our ideas down and distilling it down into that finished product. So we have it's like the food pyramid, you know what I mean? Like things at the bottom, we figured out that bottom and we're moving into the next step. And the very top is the things that we publish.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Where are we at now? What else can we go on here?
What?
What else can we go on here? We hit everything there.
That's where I was getting into like the future stuff.
Okay. Maybe I'll fire the question back at you.
Oh, I kind of answered it though.
The 6 months.
Because I got into the systems and expanding the team.
Oh, okay.
I kind of just bounced it to myself kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think as well, what we're going to see a lot of, like, with our production and stuff, is we're going to have eventually, we know it's going to happen. We already have some people that have showed interest in using this space, and some people already have used this space, is we're going to learn more about production because we're going to pick their brains.
Yeah.
And there's got to be something that they're doing that we've never even thought of.
Yeah, and that's already happened.
Yeah.
With like the very first session that wasn't us in here kind of thing. So.
Yeah, with the camera angle and where they were sitting, and then with the riffing sort of thing, the prompts.
Yeah.
I remember you sent me that one podcast about the guy, Sam, who works with Dan Martell, and then that's where like get that quantity out. It's got to be good. It's got to be good content. It's got to have a good message, but don't spend hours and shooting and then distilling it down to one thing so it's perfect. Like, you don't have the team to have everything perfect. If we're pulling in $200,000 a month, every single piece of content can be that crisp, polished piece and everything's in its place. We don't have that. We just have you and me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, I'm excited to work with some other creators, and that's a pretty cool idea. Why don't we try that? And maybe that one idea saves us hours. And then with that hours, we can brainstorm more. Because I know, like you were saying, with the idea for the prompts, and like, how many reels did they shoot and how long?
60 in 2 hours or 3 hours, maybe.
Yeah, 60 talking heads. That's crazy. That was a month plus for us before.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
So you can't pump out quantity if you don't have a system in place to get that quantity filmed. So I love getting the prompts.
Yeah.
And then just whatever off the top of my head. And if it works, cool, and you can use it. But I mean, if you film 60 things, if you hit on 50% of them in 2 hours, that's huge.
Yeah. So in terms of an investment further in this, do you have anything else you have your eyes on?
So, long story short, I know a guy. He has a business in town. He recently moved locations. I went up to chat with him today to get some products made. And he's like, let me show you the space. And he decked out his own space. And he's like, let me show you the upstairs. I'm like, there's an upstairs? So we go to the upstairs. It's not in use. And it is perfectly set up to be the most kick-ass studio like in town. Like, epic high ceilings, big industrial beams going across it, huge space. Each of the rooms is massive, full kitchen in there, so we could live in there and just podcast the entire time. Could set up you could have multiple people shooting in multiple spots. They're not going to hear each other. Oh man, it got me going, man. Got those juices flowing. Like,
yeah.
But we're here. We're going to make use of this space. That space won't be available until January for us to get into. And then we'll probably need maybe a month to plan out how we want it to look. And maybe we have to do some light renovations, hang some sound dampeners.
Soundproof. Yeah.
Hang some of those, and then we'll get into there. But that'll be like our next like level up. Like we're gonna have small level ups, and then all of a sudden we're gonna have this monumental one. And our first like monumental one was when you were speaking with Tyler, and he's like, change the camera angle and like a little bit of lighting in this. So we did that, and then he showed it to him, and he's like, drop the camera down a tiny bit, and then after that, like everything that came out for Talking Heads after that was landing with like everyone because the production value went up. So that was a monumental leap. It's like when Man Made Fire.
Yeah.
Huge evolutions after that. When we get into that space, like if you think we had creative sessions now with brainstorming here, imagine when we're there.
Yeah, that'll be insane.
I got goosebumps, man. Like it's gonna be wild. So
yeah.
But yeah, that's 8 months away from there. So imagine what we're doing now and the level that we're at now. And I think if we were in that space like today, it'd be sick. But I don't think we're at the production stage or like whatever our life cycle is in making content to fully make use of that yet. Mm-hmm. But by the time we get 8 months from now, like look where we become in 6 months of filming. By the time we get there, it'll be a year and a half.
Yeah.
Well, I'll have quit my job and
you're raking it in.
Yeah, we're getting like 1 cent every view from YouTube. Is that what it is? Something abysmal?
No, it's I don't know what it fluctuates depending on the niche you're in. So I don't know what we'll end up getting.
What about the kick-ass niche?
The kick-ass niche.
I looked a little bit into that, but we're still so far off from anything from that I didn't spend too much time.
Yeah.
You know? And then I sent you up there. You saw the space.
Yeah.
What was I know what my first thoughts were. I'll say them after yours, but like what were your first thoughts when you walked in there and he goes boop and he uses the key fob to get in there, the card fob.
The fob itself, I don't know. It's funny because he mentioned he's like, yeah, everything's fobbed, and to me I was just like, yeah, cool. I didn't really care about the fob, to be honest. I don't really care at all about the fob.
I thought it felt kind of like Star Trek-y, like kind of cool versus like the old ass keys we have here and like.
Yeah, I think the reason why I didn't really care so much about the fob was because like a few years ago I worked at a different studio with a guy, and his office was all fobbed, and then my office before this space also had the fob at the front door and stuff. So the fob doesn't feel so techy, I guess, because you used to work in this building all the time and you have the keys. The keys do suck.
Yeah.
So it is nice to have less keys. But I'm
going to stop you for a sec, though. I don't think he told you everything about the fob, though. So what you could do is say a client shows up,
yeah,
and you're back in your office, and they're like, "Hey, Adrian, I'm here." You go on your phone, you press a button, and that door unlocks.
Okay.
Yeah, and then they could walk up.
Okay, yeah, you didn't tell me that.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Yeah, or say we're not going to be there for when someone else wants to use the space, and it's obviously someone we trust because we're going to have gear and stuff there. Like, they show up to the door, and they're like, "Hey," and you're sitting at home on your couch watching like Sabrina the Teenage Witch or whatever it is you watch. You can buzz them in from your house.
Okay, that is pretty sick.
Yeah,
then.
so that's why I thought the fob was cool.
Okay, I didn't know. You didn't tell me that, and he didn't tell me that. So that is sweet. But walking in the front door and just seeing just how high the ceilings are, and just how clean everything was, and I was just like, okay, we need this. Like this is ours.
And you hadn't even seen all the rooms.
And
That was just the small hallway.
Well, even before I got there, and you sent me that little walkthrough video, that sold me on it. I was like, okay, we just got to figure out how to make this work. This is ours.
Yeah.
Like, this is ours. Nobody else can have this.
Where do we sign?
Yeah, pretty much. And just walking through it, I think the ceiling height is just what stood out the most, because there's not a lot of places in town that have the ceiling height that does. Everything has the T-bar already installed. And when you're looking at making a production studio or space, ceiling height is huge. Because here, the ceiling is just generic height, and so we have overhead lighting, but it's like really close.
Yeah.
And maybe we would want this, But in there, we have the option to have this in frame or to not have it in frame, you know? And just the possibilities is just endless in there pretty much.
Man. My first feeling as I go in there, because him and I were chatting before downstairs, and I'm like, yeah, we have this space, and I made a studio, and I showed him the pictures. He's like, come see upstairs. I was like, there's an upstairs, okay. And we're going, and he tells me how much he's going to rent for, and I was like, man, that's like only a little bit more than what we're paying here. And then we're going into the rooms, and I just start, and I'm like, listening, there's a bit of an echo, and I'm like, some sound dampeners would kill that. And we're walking around, and I'm just like kind of giddy like a schoolgirl. But in my head, and I was like, same as you, and I was like, I fucking want this.
Yeah.
Like, this is mine. This Adrian and I are coming here. And I was like, can I, do you mind if I take a video to send to my buddy? And he's like, yeah, man, for sure. And I showed it all. And he's like, hey, watch this. He's like, see those skylights? He's like, because I was thinking about that as well. As I saw the skylights, I was like, man, all that natural light is going to be shitty for like filming. And I didn't even say anything to him. He's like, watch this. Goes and presses a button, and there's these two massive skylights. And then this mechanical like metal plate slides across, and everything goes pitch black.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, man. Like,
Yeah.
wild, like crazy technical stuff. And every room, like you said, the ceilings, but every room is huge.
Yeah.
Like I can reach back, touch the wall here, so can you.
Yeah.
In that room, it is, what do you say it was, 16 by 20?
Yeah.
And this room is
9 by 12.
9 by 12.
Yeah. And this already felt big.
Yeah.
But yeah, just walking in is just like, okay, man, like if we had this space, like for me, if I brought like a different client there, it'd be like, whoa,
Yeah.
this is next level production. For us, like shooting possibilities is just, we could set up anything we wanted in there.
Yeah.
And it would just feel so good to be in like that big of a space. We have a full-size fridge
Yeah.
too, kitchen.
They're a brand new washroom in the unit.
Yeah. Having the other day here, I was waiting 30 minutes. That sucks.
What I should have told you is there's a washroom on each floor, and the key works in each of them.
Didn't know that.
But yeah, I want it. We'll figure it out. We'll make it happen. Some small rentals will be done just to kind of make it ours. But like in that back room where there's that big black wall and it has like the corrugated sides on it, I thought like if you were doing like a podcast in there, what I was thinking was, so for here we're kind of limited with where the cameras have to go because this room is so small. But you could have that room set up a 2-person table, a 6-person table, and you could have cameras everywhere and get every single angle. You could have cameras mounted that aren't going to be in the shot to get the angle that you need because they're
overhead if you wanted for whatever reason.
Exactly, man. You could do anything in that room. And like for this one, we've moved over so we could have better lighting.
Yeah.
But there, you could be anywhere, and then you're like, oh, lighting's not good, and you could physically just move the light.
Yeah.
We don't have that option here. That place would sell, man. That place, you bring a client in there, and before you even like give them the pitch, they'd be like, yeah. Like they're 50% of the way already. You're already 50% of the way there to the yes.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think, oh man, this happens to me often. There's something awesome that's going to happen in like February, and I can't wait to get there. But then I think about it like, oh, that means I have to go through another winter. That means I want summer and I want fall to be over so we can be there already.
Yeah, it's so funny because I was here at this studio yesterday, and I was so stoked on how much bigger this place was and how well it was starting to look and stuff. And then I went and saw that one today, and I get in here, and I'm like, oh, it feels so small.
It's cramped. I'm claustrophobic now.
Yeah.
But it's the exact same thing that happened with version 1 and version 2 of my basement studio.
Yeah.
We finally got version 2 set up, and then this popped up, and I was like, dude, there's like some other offices that I think would be better for us.
Well, no, what you said was like, you're like, man, in the future, would you be down to like get an office space together? I was like, And at the time, I'm like, I don't know how the fuck I'm going to pay $315 a month for this office that I have, this tiny little cubicle practically.
Yeah. And I think that was before we even thought about a podcast too.
No.
Was it?
The podcast, because we had the podcast studio in your basement.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I remember now.
And I was like, yeah, that'd be cool one day. And I think it was later that day. You sent me like photos or told me about this space, and I'm like, oh shit, he's looking at places. Like, god damn it.
And it worked out.
And then and then we're just like, let's do it.
But yeah, we had just got the version 2 done of the studio downstairs.
I don't even think it was done. I don't even know if it was done. I think you were still building it.
Maybe.
And you had the realization as you were building it.
Well, one of the realizations is I'm gonna run out of guests that I know personally. Mm-hmm. And then actually I was playing poker one night, and there was this really eccentric guy who had some crazy stories about being like abducted by aliens and stuff. And I was like, this guy would be a great guest. And then I was like, I have to bring him in my fucking house then.
Yeah.
So I thought of like my safety for my family and stuff. And I said that to you too, though. Mm-hmm. I think before I mentioned about getting a space together. And I was like, dude, like I don't know if I want to have people in my house.
Yeah. And then there's one guest that you want to have that's like, is he 7 foot?
I think he's 7'2".
Like, he is super tall. And your basement was like, in some sections, not even 6 feet.
Dude, if I didn't have a hat on, I would have like big gashes. How many times did I hit my head? Like,
so many
dunk.
times. I hit my head so many times. Oh. You have to like bend down like this to get
down there. I go in my basement to grab like a storage bin, and I feel like I kink my neck every time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of that guest, I reach out to him.
Yeah.
He's down.
He's down.
Yeah. We're going to lock down a day because he's does like motivational speaking. Yeah. And he's out of town until early June. Excuse me. So we're going to have him come on in early June.
Nice.
Yeah.
Make it before the 12th.
What happens on the 12th?
I go out of town.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is that your bachelor party?
Yeah.
All right. All right.
Bachelor party.
Adrian's going to Disneyland with his boys. Yeah, we could talk about that off camera. We don't need to bring that up now. Yeah. But yeah, he's totally down. He said like the first week of June.
Sweet.
So we'll get that locked in. Just waiting for his response.
Nice.
So, yeah, got some other guests I sent some feelers out to. I know you have as well. We got a couple booked for next week. So
yeah. Sweet.
Quite the journey, and like it's cliche, and I fucking hate cliche things. And they say like it's not about the destination, it's the journey. But I think it's even more than that. Like, this journey's been great, but it's about the people that you like meet along the way, and like meeting you totally changed. Like, there's going to be key moments in your life, key people that you meet, experiences that you have that are going to change kind of the trajectory of your life. And my wife's super big into like putting it out there in the universe. And I was talking about wanting to do things online probably 7 or 8 years ago, like when her and I first started dating.
Yeah.
And I really wanted it, and I didn't know how to make it happen. And I did try a little bit before. I had kind of like a fitness page, and I had some like supplement sponsors, and anything I had from that, I would do giveaways. And obviously, it didn't work out because I'm not in the fitness space. But it just sort of happened when it was supposed to happen, and now we're here. And I definitely feel like I'm doing now what I was meant to do.
Yeah.
Like, I love coming to the studio. I love going out to film. I love talking about it. I like the amount of messages I've seen from people. Like, I read one last night from a friend of mine, and he actually sent it in April. And I think, because what happens sometimes, I get up in the morning and I'm like half groggy and I'm trying to respond to people. But he sent one, and it was like a wall of text.
Yeah. And
I'm like, okay, I'll read that later. And I forgot about it. And then he just commented on one of my stories yesterday. And then I popped back in and I read it. And he's like, you're doing like what humans are supposed to do. And like, you're living this like great lifestyle, and you're like inspiring people. And I'm so inspired by you. And I'm going to get back into my regular routine. And I messaged him back. I'm like, man, that's awesome, blah, blah, blah. And then I sent it. And then I looked at it again, and I was like, oh, dude, shit. I'm like, this is like a month and a half late. I'm so sorry. Like thank you so much for your great words and everything. Like we should like link up and like he's into running now and let's go for a run. Or like the amount of people that I saw, because I volunteered at Boogie the Bridge, because I was supposed to the week before be doing MDS. So I signed up months and months ago to be a volunteer because I still wanted to participate. And then I probably saw at least 10 people from my kind of volunteer station that as I ran by, they're like, I started running because of you.
Yeah.
Like that just, what's better than kind of giving service to other people and like inspiring them and like giving them value. So I'm hoping as we're doing this, people could find value in it and they can, you know, make some changes in their life, be a little more positive and be uplifted and, you know, maybe have a laugh or two when they're watching us, you know, riff back and forth.
Yeah. Yeah. I was one of the ones that ran past you and
yeah,
I started running because of you.
All right, man.
Yeah.
So I don't think what you said we can say on camera though, can we?
Adrian, who's the runner now?
No, he said, "Who's the runner now, bitch?" And then the funny thing is, so Adrian ran his first 10K that day.
Yeah.
Is Adrian and his family that he was running with, they crossed the finish line, but for some reason, none of their times logged. So now I rib them a bit, and I'm like, man, if it's not logged, you can't search it online. It didn't really happen. You got to do another one.
Yeah, we got to schedule in that half.
Yeah, we'll find a half for you to do.
Yeah, we got to do a half.
Yeah.
Because I feel like realistically, anybody could do a 10K. Maybe not running necessarily 10K.
But move 10K.
But most people could, if they had to, go 10K.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could say the same thing about a half.
No, I think it's...
Probably not.
I don't know.
A lot of people could do a half for sure.
Yeah.
A lot of people still could do a half. Not saying that I'm like top 1% or anything like that if I do a half. But...
No, I think you would be. I think that the numbers are something like if you run, it's only like 2% of the population of the planet do it. And if you do like a half or a marathon, it's even like, it's like less than like 0.5%.
I think when I looked it up, because I get like, I like those kind of stats.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but so I was looking up like a marathon, and I think it was like 0.03% of the world population or something like that.
Has done a marathon?
I gotta do in their lifetime, they'll do one, yeah.
That's crazy.
So like,
8 billion of us, man.
Yeah, that stat could be wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe it's 0.3,
but it's
I think
low.
It's really low. Whatever it is it's really low. But yeah, either way, I think a lot of people could do a 10 if they wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Not as many people could do a half. I feel like if you do a half, you kind of have to put a little bit of work into it, you know?
Or you'll be sore the next day. But yeah, you got to put some work in.
I was sore after the 10.
Well, the excitement of your first race, you're going to go out probably too hard, and like the adrenaline's going to push you through most of it. So
yeah, I wish I had the time because I was about an hour. Yeah. I don't know if I was sub-hour or what, but I was very like on the line of an hour.
I think we get you up to a half by the end of the summer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
3.5 months for sure.
Yeah.
I went from 3K to 50K in April, May, June, July. 5 months.
Yeah.
Like, and I was 37. No, I just turned 38, and I was like 245 pounds or something when I started.
Yeah.
You're young, you're lean, you look more like a runner than I do. So, and you might know a guy who might be able to give you a few pointers along the way.
Yeah, can you give me his contact?
Yeah, I'll put it in the show notes for you.
Okay. Sweet.
Yeah. Sick, dude. I love working with you. I'm so glad that our paths crossed.
Yeah, same here.
I count you as a super close friend now. Like I never thought when we first started working together that it would turn into something like this.
Yeah, me either.
Like I think this pushed us to really like push us to our limits to find like what we can do and like what we have inside of us and like we dig deep and like we're pulling that out of us now. We're putting that out in the world.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
I think we're gonna put out some awesome shit, dude.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. Well, hey, man, it's awesome to have you on. I hope that you can make some time in the near future to come back on.
I'll see what I can do.
You see what you can do. Check your schedule. So I think we share the same Google Calendar, so you can see when I'm available as well.
Yeah.
So, okay. All right, Adrian. Thanks, dude.
Peace.